Hello everyone, my name is Patrick, and today I'm going to be talking to you about Never Back Down 3, otherwise known as Never Back Down, No Surrender. A movie series that was originally about a high school kid learning martial arts to try and deal with the death of his father, to a movie about 4 college kids learning martial arts for their own dick-headed reasons, to a movie series about a middle-aged man meandering around Thailand. Now, for this next part, I will be talking about what happens in the movie, so spoilers. The movie starts off with main character Case, played by Michael J. White, fighting against some random Joe Schmo MMA fighter. After beating his opponent, Case's manager up and quits on him because he's too good at fighting, a problem that I'm sure is all too common among MMA managers. After suffering his crippling victory, Case comes across his old friend Brody, played by real-life MMA fighter Josh Barnett. After talking for a bit, we realize that Brody has a fight camp coming up and invites Case to join him to help him train for his upcoming bout against a champion in another federation that he's going to be fighting in. Casey at first refuses for some reason, even though he's offered tons of money, but eventually concedes after being told the exact same thing in a different scene that he was told in the last scene, but he said no. Everyone flies out to Thailand for this MMA fight, which, why the fuck are you having an MMA fight in Thailand? No one's gonna give a shit. We are then taken to a press conference where we are introduced to Brody's opponent, Psycho. The press conference scene is pretty lackluster except for one point where the CEO of their organization, the PFC, actually brags that they don't drug test and believe that steroids are like a natural evolution in sports. And I'll be kind of honest, the movie sort of already lost me at this point because it's like, because first you have a manager who quits on his fighter because he's too good at fighting, then you have a fighter who needs to be like convinced to become a millionaire trainer, then you have a MMA fight in Thailand, and now you have the CEO of a sports organization claiming that steroids is a natural evolution in sports, and he, in fact, loves it. It's like in movies, even in fucking superhero flicks, you have to have some believability. You have to have... It has to be somewhat grounded in reality. You can't just be fucking all over the place. It had, like... If a movie's not believable, it's hard to stay invested. During the press conference, a reporter asks Psycho about apparently domestic violence charges he has being pressed against him for beating his wife, and he flips the fuck out and destroys a bathroom in the most hilarious way I think I've ever seen in my life. Like, honestly, if you're only gonna watch, like, one part of this movie, watch the fucking bathroom destruction scene. It's fucking hilarious. After the press conference, Case then goes to the gym that he and Brody are going to be training in for Brody's upcoming fight. Then there's like this weird like montage of Case setting up like makeshift karate shit in the gym, and it's only weird just because it cuts between him making stuff and Brody like having second thoughts about this fight, and it cuts back and forth way too much, and all the time there is this fucking horrible fucking song playing. It's fucking terrible, and it doesn't make any sense. If it was just him setting up the karate stuff, it would have been fine, but like interspliced with like the Josh regretting stuff, it's like they don't connect. After Case completes making his setup, another professional fighter in the gym, Cobra, walks by and snickers at Case's ridiculous karate setup. This, of course, prompts a fight between the two men where Casey horribly beats down and hospitalizes Cobra, which Brody finds hilarious. No, never mind that that's your fucking teammate, dude, that like literally got sent to the hospital with like broken ribs and a concussion. No, it's fucking funny how he got like wrecked in a training camp, especially when he had a professional fight apparently coming up. Great teammate. Then we cut to the next day, where Casey runs to where Josh is staying to go train with him, only to find out that he's had a 3-way, instead of doing his training regimen. The CEO of the PFC then stops by the gym after finding out that Cobra, who is apparently his co-main event headliner, has been hospitalized and can no longer fight. So he shows up at the gym ripping pissed, where he finds out that Casey is staying there. And apparently him and Casey have some sort of history, and no, it's never fucking revealed what it is, in case you had any interest in that. But in any case, the CEO is willing to let, like, bygones be bygones and have Case fill Cobra's spot, even though Casey is, like, 240 pounds, about, and Cobra was a middleweight. And based on the information that the movie has given us, Case doesn't cut weight for any of his fights. So some kid named Tosh tries to impress the CEO, and Case lets him spar with him, and Case makes it look like, oh, he's so good, but the CEO knows he's holding back, so he's like, fuck this stupid kid, and he leaves. After that spar, Tosh and his friend Eddie both ask Case if he'll train them. After they put on a bit of pressure, Case agrees to train them. After this, Case gets a date with Brody's manager, and she's revealed to have a daughter. I'll be honest, I didn't really care that much for this segment of the movie. I mean, I guess it's cool that, like, they included a love interest for Case, but it's nothing special. It's not like a super good movie romance. It's like just kind of, oh, there's a hot chick, Case should date her. Case ends up blowing his date though when she justifiably asks, hey, why were you in prison? And he's all like, whoa, that's none of your business. And it's like, you're gonna date a convicted felon. It kind of fucking is, especially if you have a daughter. It was just kind of ridiculous. Meanwhile, back in the plot, Brody is still too fucking lazy to get his ass in gear for his training against a fucking champion, so he starts taking steroids. Brody then finds out that Case went on a date with his manager when he's been working that angle for years. Never mind that he has a wife and he's like a fucking playboy and just he shouldn't care about this, but he does. He fucking wants his manager. So then he tries to beat up Case in an MMA spar. Remind me again why we like Brody? He cheats on his wife constantly. He's taking steroids for this upcoming fight, and now he's getting, like, turned into a jealous bitch for no reason over a woman that he never had a shot with, and, like, Case's one chance at happiness. So he throws, like, a temper tantrum and tries to, like, fuck him up. Like, I know he's not the lead, but he's still, like, a main character, and one that we're supposed to be rooting for, even though he's a giant fucking douche. After getting his ass beat, Brody then apologizes, because it's like, what else can you do after that? And a training montage ensues. It's not the best training montage, but it's passable, I guess. After Brody's manager comes back to Case and apologizes for overstepping her boundaries, they agree to go on another date. After that, there's, like, this literally super pointless fight scene where this Muay Thai girl beats up this MMA fighter for beating up Eddie. Eddie, you remember fucking Eddie? One of the two guys Case is supposed to be training? Yeah, there's only been like 2 scenes devoted to that, and by the way, they haven't even said his name once in this fucking movie. Then the video of Case beating up police officers from Never Back Down 2 goes viral all over the internet, and everyone suddenly knows who Case is now. And then they replay, like, the whole fucking scene. Not even, like, from the camcorder's perspective so that you may see what that guy caught on it. No, it's like, it's like fucking shot for shot. They just added, like, a filter over it, so it's like, ooh, it's a flashback. And it's like, I guess that's cool if you didn't fucking see the second movie, but who's gonna watch this movie without seeing the second movie first? Then we cut to the CEO of the PFC, and after he crunches some numbers, he realizes that he's losing something like $6 million on this fight. And it's like, I don't know how fucking off your projections would have to be for your company to be losing so much fucking money. Like, especially when it's revealed in the beginning that he promised both fighters millions of dollars outright. I mean, I don't know, I guess this guy just shouldn't be running a company. Faced with this information, he hires a Sambo fighter to take out Brody in his training camp and make it look like he just got injured in his training camp, you know, which happens all the time, so that's actually kind of believable. In the hospital, though, Brody's afraid that his insurance won't cover him on his injuries because he reveals to Case that he's been taking steroids this whole time. But then Case reveals back that, haha, he's been replacing his steroids with placebos, and he actually knew this whole time, somehow. After the CEO offers Casey $1 million to fight Psycho, Case immediately jumps on it. Even though before, when he was offered, like, pretty much the same thing earlier in the movie, he just fucking tells the CEO to fuck off. It's like, I swear, fucking Casey has, like, short-term memory loss. Speaking of which, After Casey thinks about it for 2 more seconds, he thinks it's a bit suspicious that a Sambo practitioner just happened to be in Thailand for Brody's fucking fight, and breaks into his locker and finds evidence that he took him out on purpose. Another training montage happens, and it's super fucking short. All it is Casey hanging up a heavy bag and then him punching and kicking it for like 30 seconds, and that's his training montage to get ready for Psycho. And also, the entire fucking time, they're playing that horrible fucking song from like the first montage where he's putting together his karate shit. It's fucking terrible. Casey then fights and beats Psycho in a street fight literally like 30 seconds before their match is scheduled, in an arena full of white people, even though I thought this movie took place in Thailand. After the fight is over, the CEO of the PFC then threatens to sue Casey for all of his trailer. Like, Casey literally has nothing. He would gain nothing from suing him. But then Casey counters by threatening to reveal to everyone that he actually took out a fucking MMA fighter. He is then extorted out of like $3 million more or something like that, and his assistant informs him that they have to refund all the tickets to the people who paid to watch Psycho vs. Case, since technically that match never actually happened, which I don't honestly think would happen. Like, I'm pretty sure if that happened in real life, the fucking CEO would just be like, sucks to be you, people who bought this on pay-per-view. And that was pretty much the movie. I'll now go over the things I liked and disliked about it. One thing I really liked about the movie, it had really good humor. Like, the jokes that were there actually, like, the timing on them was perfect. Now, the jokes in this movie aren't, like, gut-bustingly hilarious, but they're funny. Like, they'll get you a chuckle or a laugh. So you can't fault it on that front. All the fight scenes were pretty good, which is good considering that it's a fight movie. You know, if it's a fight movie with terrible fight scenes, then there's no point in watching it. But in this movie, the fight scenes are pretty good. The movie was definitely entertaining. I'll tell you, like, I watched the whole thing all the way through, and I'm someone who has trouble, like, getting through a 10-minute video without, like, getting up, walking around, switching over to another video, playing video games. So if this movie can get me to sit down and watch the entire thing for like a whole hour and a half, then it's a pretty entertaining movie. I actually fucking loved all of the teaching moments in the movie, like when Case was teaching the Eddie and Tosh how real martial arts and shit like that. I thought those scenes were very fucking good. Contained a lot of truth and were just very interesting. I just kind of wish there were more of them. Unfortunately, those are all the things I liked about the movie, so now we'll move on to the dislikes. The movie has a terrible fucking soundtrack. None of the songs are good. Like, hardly any of them you can even fucking listen to. Like, I remember I had to, like, fucking mute my computer halfway through, like, these training montages, and then once I saw their lips moving, I was like, oh, they're talking again. Fucking turn the sound back on. Like, that's how fucking bad the music was. Next thing I didn't like about this movie is that the story is all over the fucking place. It is not straightforward at all. Like, it's not like a redemption story for Case or Brody or like honestly, like, it's just them meandering around in Thailand until, like, Brody gets injured last minute and Case has to fucking filled in with, like, 2 shitty love stories. Yeah, fucking 2, because there's another one where, like, Eddie is, like, supposed to hook up with the fucking Muay Thai chick. I didn't get that at all. Like, there was literally 3, like, I don't know, minute-long scenes devoted to that. I'm so invested in their love story. Unfortunately, another fault of the movie is that the acting is pretty bad. It's really cheesy and flatly delivered a lot of the times. Especially, like, it's kind of weird, especially by Josh Barnett, the guy who played Brody. And, you can't really fault him. He's not an actor. He's an MMA fighter. But, I mean, it's just so jarring when, like, you see him next to, like, real actors that actually do know how to act, which is only like 3 people in this movie, but still, like, you have pretty good actors, and you have mediocre actors, and you have Josh Barnett. Another thing that I didn't really like about this movie is the way that it portrays MMA fighters. It, like, portrays most MMA fighters to be, like, huge fucking assholes. And don't get me wrong, there are definitely, like, huge fucking assholes in MMA, but you'll find that, like, for the most part, the ones who do it professionally are mainly just kind of like putting on an act. They're not actually douchebags. They're just trying to like get public appeal on them by acting like dicks. In this movie, 90% of MMA fighters are just fucking assholes for no reason. I already went over all the ways Brody's a dick. He tried to take steroids, he cheated on his wife multiple times, he tried to beat up his friend for trying to like date his manager. Like, Brody was just an asshole. And I didn't even mention this before, but there were tons of scenes where like they're just sparring in the gym for the training camp, like getting ready for their fights, and like there's tons of times when like they'll do like late hits to each other. There's one fighter who even tries to fight like a girl at one point, and that's like the pointless fight scene with Eddie's Muay Thai girlfriend. Like it's like he literally needed no motivation or even prompt a fighter. Like, she literally just steps in the ring and he takes a swing at her. Another thing that I thought was weird, but I didn't necessarily dislike, was that this movie rips off like logos, and I only noticed two, but I'm sure there were more. For instance, the PFC logo at one point looks very similar to an old UFC logo, and Psycho at one point wears a shirt that's very similar to a shirt that Brock Lesnar wears in the WWE. So I just thought that was kind of weird that they were like just ripping off and parodying shit. It was just weird. So overall, if I were to give this movie like a score, I'd probably give it a 4 out of 10. And the reason that it's a 4 out of 10 is because it is, for your most part, like a typical fight movie. You know, fight movies aren't really known for great acting. They aren't really known for great plots. You're typically in it just for the montages and the fight scenes, and that's typically what your average fighting movie all it needs to be. But this movie is lacking critically in the training montage department. It's like the montages aren't good. They're way too fucking short. They don't contain a lot of stuff, and the music that's played over them is fucking horrible. And it's like, that's half the reason I'm fucking watching this movie is for the montages. Alright guys, so that's been my thoughts on Never Back Down, No Surrender. Please let me know what you think about this movie down in the comments. I'm Patrick, and I'll see you next time.